Yo, it's Mac from the Everyday Nobody's podcast. I know you see the title, so let's get straight to it. That boy Joe loves seeing his ops fail. It's the same story every time. He hires an employee, they end up leaving, they kick his back in on the way out, and then he sits there and waits so he can fuck them up in the end. We've seen it with Rory and Mal.
I'm not going to spew venom. I'm not going to start talking crazy like, you're a thief. These are facts. These are just the facts, bro. You stole from me and Rory. Facts.
And now we're seeing it with Bridget, Kelly, and Mandy. And for those who don't know who these people are, y'all gotta remember, like back in 2020, Joe tried to launch 2 female podcasts. Both of them shits failed miserably. There's a See the Thing Is podcast with Bridget, Mandy, and Olivia Dope. And he had the Girl I Guess podcast with Karen Civil and Ming Lee. The Girl I Guess one had a grand opening and a grand closing in the course of like 45 minutes. That shit didn't have a chance. I can only assume it was due to Karen Civil allegedly, and I do say allegedly, being a scammer because she was getting accused of that shit at the same time that the podcast had started, and I don't even think they made 30 episodes. Karen was getting pressed by Joyner Lucas.
As soon as that money was paid, you know, we had like a conversation on the phone. Everything was peachy on his phone call. You were like, yeah, we're going to do this, da-da-da-da. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, word. I felt real good. And as soon as we hung up the phone, we ain't really hear shit from you. That was it. That was really it. And every single time I try to reach out to you, you talking to me like I'm disturbing your fucking day.
Jason Lee from Hollywood Unlocked.
Then I pick up the phone, camera over here, phone over here, and I call Karen Civil. And I called her and I said, hey, so we have to have a conversation. What's up, Jason? Mind you, remember, I thought she was helping me get my page back. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, yo, this is a weird ass call I got to make to you right now. I know how the fuck my page went down. You did it. And she was quiet and I went on and on telling her what I know. Before you say anything to me, I talked to this dude. This is what he said. This is what you did. You know you did it. And she says to me, you know what? I had to do it. You know what I mean? Like, you got your ways of doing your dirt. I got my ways of mine.
And a bunch of other people. She was doing some foul shit, allegedly. Then out of nowhere, that shit disappeared. I ain't heard shit from Karen Civil since then. So once they were gone, all that was left was the See the Thing Is podcast. Even that got off on a fucked up foot because Joe Budden came in kind of fucking up the vibe because he was hitting on Olivia Dope and made some inappropriate comments and inappropriate hugging. And she left because she said she felt uncomfortable. It was even alleged that Joe had to pay her a settlement.
My departure from See the Thing Is podcast, as well as the Joe Budden Network, I am here today to still uncomfortable, but find the bravery to finally speak on a very embarrassing situation. Not only to start my healing process, but to help give encouragement to others who have similar stories of sexual harassment in the workplace.
So now all that's left is Mandy and Bridget. Honestly, that shit lasted a year, which was surprising to me, but then eventually they would cut ties with the JBN, and it seemed pretty amicable until like later you start to hear Bridget and Mandy kind of taking little slick shots.
He tried to steal Bridget from underneath me when I was on his network.
Really?
He literally said, see, the thing ain't, it was trying to get Bridget as the replacement for Rory and Mal.
It's like, bro, you got me up. I'm not that kind of, never been that kind of, I don't move that way. I don't move that kind of, I don't move that way.
She was supposed to be a Rory or Mal replacement.
First, Mandy started tweeting, talking shit, saying that 6 mics is crazy and there's too many people talking over each other, which is a fair assessment. It's just not a fair assessment coming from you. It's always going to look a little sideways because you and Joe have a history. Then out of nowhere, Mandy tweets again, and it seemed like she was kind of subbing Melissa. I mean, it wasn't really that deep. She just said hootie hoo, but if you know Melissa, that's kind of her catchphrase. Little petty girl shit. It wasn't nothing. Well, as of last week, we find out that See the Thing Is officially over. At first, Mandy would say it was just creative differences, but at least they went out like an actual sitcom or something. They said, okay, we're going to have our final episode and we're going to pretty much air out all our grievances. One of those grievances being their time at the JBN.
This is no beef or shade.
No shade at all.
Let's be very clear. We wanted 3 guests.
Yeah.
We only asked help to get 3 guests. We asked specifically the JBN for Jasmine Sullivan, Lotto, and Kevin Samuels.
Yep.
Guess where those 3 went? Onto the JVP. Literally no interaction with us at all. We specifically asked for those 3 guests, And instead of those guests coming to us, that was probably, to me, a little bit of the beginning of the end. Even.
Oh, yeah, that was.
They had a lot to say about Joe. Fast forward to today, and Joe has finally responded, and it was exactly what I was waiting for.
Most of these niggas want to be owners and be paid. And that's not how things work. If you own it, then own it. That means incur the costs, put in the sweat equity. It's yours.
Now, before we get to the shits, I just want to ask y'all, is Joe Budden wrong for quote unquote stifling their career, or is Bridget and Mandy just spoiled and entitled? So Bridget and Mandy both said that they had a problem getting guests on their channel. They basically claimed that Joe was stealing all of their suggestions for guests. Now, if he was doing that, that is nasty work. Then they said they wasn't even getting no money. They was getting paid in wine and pasta. And if that's true, that's also nasty work.
When we left the JBN, and I could just be honest now too, we ain't make really no money working that first year.
Interning that first year.
We were getting paid in pasta and...
But then Joe kind of cleared it up. He said, you either going to be employees and get paid, or you're going to be owners and get equity, but you can't get both. And if that part's true, I completely understand what Joe's saying. Joe's looking at it like, let me get this straight. You want to start a podcast from nothing. Then you want to borrow my audience, which is a huge platform. Then you want to use me and my co-host to help boost your ratings. And I say that because Joe was on the pod, Rory was on the pod, Maul, I'm pretty sure was on the pod. Then you want to use my engineer, and you want to use my editors, and you want to use my cameras and equipment, and even when you decide to leave, I let you keep your intellectual property? Y'all must be fucking crazy. No other company in the world will let you leech off them the way they did and then get to leave with all of your intellectual property. It just wouldn't happen. What type of lazy entitlement bullshit are y'all on? You were set up to win from the beginning. You just had to work at it. You damn near just had to show up. And now you have the nerve to talk shit when you leave because it didn't work out how you want it? Y'all had Joe fucked up.
If y'all want to get paid as soon as you step foot in a door while I'm leasing you my audience, need I remind people that they did have a deal. They got a deal 6 episodes in for Squeeze the Juice, which was a reinterpretation of Sleepers. So I done loaned you that IP. You got a deal. Niggas is getting paid. Y'all are a bill. It's all of this shit around y'all cost money. And that pasta and wine shit was expensive every week. Y'all coming in here with fucking boyfriends, just thinking it's hangout time, ordering shit for 3 hours straight every week. What are you talking about? And I agree with homeboy.
And then Joe's looking at it like, damn, wait a minute. You're only 3 episodes in and you already begging for guests? Ain't nobody putting no time to build a chemistry and a bond between the co-hosts? That shit is crazy.
And I agree with homeboy. What did you build to make a Kevin Samuels or Lotto or Jasmine Sullivan want to come there in the middle of an album cycle? Kevin Samuels, diva ass, may he rest in peace. That nigga was so tough to get on there. I carried an umbrella for that nigga in the rain like I was Farnsworth Big.
Y'all got to really think about who Joe is. He was building his podcast when there wasn't even no money in it yet. It was just him and his friends shooting in the gym. They wasn't asking for no handouts. They wasn't getting no special guests. It was just a couple friends figuring shit out in real time. So yeah, he's going to have the stance that, how the fuck do y'all get to jump the line just because y'all know me? Y'all got to put in some groundwork too. But what do I know? I'm just an everyday nobody. Tell me what you think in the comments. Is Joe wrong for what he said? Are they just some entitled children who think the world should be handed to them? Or is Bridget and Mandy right? Was Joe just hating and stealing guests from them? Let me know what you think, like and subscribe. And shout out to Chick Smooth for putting all the pieces together. I'm out.